Have you ever suspected that your inner intensity is actually a secret signal of a rare psychological blueprint? Stay focused, because by the conclusion of this video, you will recognize why Carl Jung argued that the very qualities the world judges are actually your bridge to a higher calling. Jung famously remarked that our ultimate task is to embrace our genuine essence. But what happens when your essence defies every social standard? What if your high sensitivity, your constant questioning, and your refusal to live on the surface aren't defects, but the hallmarks of a sophisticated mind? If you have always felt like a stranger in a familiar land, or if others have labeled you as too intense, this isn't a random occurrence. Based on Jung's revolutionary analytical framework, certain people possess an advanced internal state called differentiated consciousness, a depth of perception that remains dormant in the majority of the population. Here is the fascinating part. Jung found that these unique souls often spend years feeling broken, unaware they are actually functioning with a level of cognitive complexity that is remarkably scarce. But there is a specific danger involved, which I will explain in just a moment. Today, we are analyzing 8 definitive indicators that you belong to this rare psychological category. If these patterns mirror your life, it won't just reframe your history, it will redefine your entire path forward. But first, ask yourself this: do your internal reactions feel vastly more powerful than those around you? There is a structural reason for this that Jung mapped out, and it isn't what you've been led to believe. Indicator 1. You navigate an emotional landscape that others find intimidating. Jung made an incredible discovery regarding inner fire. He realized that specific people don't just have feelings, they encounter what he termed affect tone complexes, which trigger massive internal echoes. Simply put, your heart isn't just reacting, it is vibrating with the weight of the world. Jung understood a truth that most modern experts overlook. This isn't a lack of control, it is emotional mastery in its rawest form. But why does the collective try to shame you into silence? When you feel this deeply, you aren't being dramatic. High sensitivity is actually a radar for truths others choose to ignore. You detect the hidden friction in a room. You catch the fleeting sadness behind a forced grin. You absorb the energetic debris of every conversation because your spirit is built for substance, not superficial chatter. But here is the pivot point where most people with this gift stumble into a trap. Jung identified a specific way that deep feelers accidentally stifle their own power. Society demands you relax or be logical, but Jung knew that crushing this depth doesn't make you stable, it makes you fragmented. You begin to suffer from a psychic tear, where your true self hides while your mask attempts to fit in. This is why you feel drained after simple social gatherings. What if I told you Jung found a way to turn this exhaustion into an impenetrable shield? I'll reveal that strategy in our 6th sign. Indicator 2. You possess a relentless hunger for truth that breaks social norms. Jung noted that the masses often live unexamined lives, following scripts they never wrote. But you are different. You are driven by an active intellect that rejects easy answers. This isn't about being difficult, it is about psychological integrity. However, there is a hidden price for this honesty that many don't see until it's too late. You don't just look at the world, you dissect it. Why do people stay in toxic cycles? Why is our culture obsessed with the trivial? Why do we trade authenticity for comfort? Your brain is a heat-seeking missile for reality. Jung called this the transcendent function, the ability to look past the visible horizon. While others cling to the shore, you are already calculating the tides. But here is the Jungian paradox. The sharper your vision, the lonelier the view, because your clarity threatens the illusions that keep others feeling safe. When you ask the hard questions, you aren't just curious, you are dismantling the defenses of those around you. This is why you've been called a cynic when you were actually being a pioneer. Jung saw that people like you have a forward-looking mind. You see the storm clouds while others are still tanning. This vision carries a heavy duty that I'll detail in our final segment. Indicator 3. You have forged a radical self-reliance out of necessity. Jung believed the bravest act is to look in the mirror and accept what you see. You have mastered this, not because it was easy, but because you had no other choice. His data showed that rare types reach individuation much faster, often triggered by early hardship. Your independence isn't a wall, it is a foundation. But the world will tell you it's a trust issue. Here is why they are wrong. You learn through fire that building your worth on someone else's opinion is a death sentence. So you constructed an identity that is weatherproof. Jung called this the journey toward wholeness. Most people stop halfway because they are terrified of their shadow, the parts of themselves they were told to hate. But here is the friction. Your strength attracts those who want to lean on you and scares those who want to rule you. Jung saw a specific rhythm in how independent minds handle intimacy. You don't look for a missing piece because you have already found yourself. This means you don't enter rooms looking for approval. You enter looking for resonance. You don't want a savior, you want a partner in evolution. Jung noted that people who reach this stage become magnets for both real devotion and high-level manipulation. The secret is knowing the difference, and I'll explain Jung's filtering system in Sign 7. Your quiet time isn't a void, it's a laboratory. It is where you strip away the world's expectations to find the gold underneath. Indicator 4. You have an intuitive grip on reality that feels almost supernatural. Jung changed the field when he classified intuition as a core mental tool. He described it as a process where the unconscious mind bridges the gap between a problem and a solution through images and hunches. Your nervous system is tuned to a frequency that most people simply can't hear. But this sixth sense can wreck your peace if you don't learn the rules of the game. You don't just see people, you see through them. You notice the microscopic flinch, the tone shift, the heavy air. Jung saw this as active imagination in real time. When a friend says they are fine, but their energy is screaming for help, you can't just ignore it. This isn't overthinking, it is high-fidelity perception. But here is the warning: if you don't build a dam, this flood will drown you. Jung saw that intuitive types often become unpaid therapists for everyone they meet. You balance the moods of the room and carry the weight of secrets you never asked to hear. You do the heavy lifting for the emotions of others because you can't help but feel the imbalance. Jung made a shocking observation: rare types often vanish into the needs of the crowd. There is a specific mental snare that catches almost every intuitive person, and escaping it is the only way to survive. The risk is becoming so focused on the external data that your internal light flickers out. You become a mirror for everyone else while you stay in the dark. But Jung showed that this sensitivity can be converted into a superpower if you master psychological boundaries. I'll explain that exact technique in a moment. Indicator 5. You value depth and meaning over popularity and status. Jung witnessed that some people are fundamentally incapable of living a lie. While the world chases symbols of success, your soul demands substance. This creates a brutal internal conflict. You probably tried to play the game once. You wore the right clothes, smiled at the right jokes, and chased the usual goals. But your mind rebelled. You felt that hollow ache, that sense of treason against your own spirit. According to Jung, when you betray your type, your body creates neurotic friction. Your anxiety is often just your truth trying to break through a wall of pretending. Jung realized that most people never find meaning because they are terrified of being cancelled by their tribe. But you face a different mountain. You can't fake excitement for small talk. You can't commit to a career that doesn't feel like a mission. You can't stay in a shallow romance. Your dana won't allow the deception. This is why you feel like a wanderer. But Jung saw something hopeful. Meaning-driven people are the upgraders of human consciousness. When you refuse to settle, you challenge everyone else to raise their standards. By living your truth, you shine a light on the shadows of others. To live with purpose is to give others the map to their own. But Jung's most vital insight was that your drive for meaning isn't just about you. It's a collective responsibility that I will reveal at the end of this script. Indicator 6. You have outgrown the circles that used to define you. Jung believed the saddest story is a life left unlived. But what happens when you decide to finally live yours? Growth is often a lonely road, and there is a specific kind of mourning that comes with it. You've likely felt the sting of realizing your old friends don't see you anymore. It isn't that you've become arrogant, it's that you've shed the skin they were comfortable with. Jung called this the cycle of psychological death and renewal. Most people don't understand that outgrowing a lifestyle isn't a choice, it's a byproduct of waking up. But Jung found a way to handle this shift without losing your heart. People who knew the people-pleasing version of you will often try to guilt you back into the box. They liked the version of you that was easier to manage. But there is no road back to the dark. Once you've seen the mechanics of the world, you can't unsee them. Jung observed that this exit often leads to a dark night of the soul, a phase of deep isolation that tests your resolve. It's not just being alone, it's the realization that your path is unique. However, Jung discovered that once you stop shrinking to fit small rooms, you finally start finding the halls where you belong. When you stop apologizing for your complexity, you trigger a new kind of resonance. The right people don't find the mask, they find the face behind it. Indicator 7, you offer a type of presence that is becoming extinct. Jung said the meeting of two spirits is like a chemical reaction. If there is a spark, both are changed. But some people carry a presence that changes the environment just by existing. Jung identified this as holding space. If you have this, you know how heavy it feels, but you might not realize how much the world starves for it. When people talk to you, they feel a rare sense of being witnessed. You don't just hear words, you hear the soul. You don't offer generic advice, you offer deep silence. You don't judge the mess, you sit in it with them. Jung knew this was the ultimate form of healing. In your orbit, people feel human again. But Jung warned that this gift can be a slow-acting poison if you don't use it with wisdom. He saw that empathetic people often fall into helper syndrome, a cycle of giving until there is nothing left. The goal isn't to close your doors, it's to hire a doorman. You must learn who earned the right to sit at your table. When Jung coached people with this natural healing aura, he taught them one specific skill that saved their lives. I'll share that in our final sign because it's the key to keeping your power. Indicator 8, you feel a pull toward a destiny you haven't yet named. Jung taught that your vision only clears when you look inside your own heart. If you have a nagging feeling that you are meant for a greater work, Jung would call this the archetypal call. It is your psyche pushing for its final form. This isn't about ego or wanting to be famous. It is about alignment. It is the need to match your outer life to your inner magnitude. Jung found that people who ignore this pull get sick spiritually and mentally. But your calling isn't just a personal project. Jung believed people with rare traits act as a bridge for the rest of humanity. Through your questions, your depth, and your refusal to conform, you help the species evolve. This is why you can't be normal. This is why surface-level living feels like a prison. Your soul knows you have work to do. But Jung also warned about inflation, the trap of thinking you are better than others. The secret is to hold your power with humility. You are a differentiated individual, someone who has reached a level of complexity that allows for a deeper experience of life. If even a few of these signs rang true, you aren't just an outsider. You are the leading edge of the human mind. It is a lonely role, yes. It requires more courage than most will ever show. But you are the ones who push the world toward the light. Your intensity isn't an error. It's the engine. Your sensitivity isn't a flaw. It's the compass. Don't let a small world tell you that you are too much. Tell us in the comments which sign hit you the hardest. Support the channel Winds of Thought by hitting the like button, and subscribe as we continue to map the hidden corners of your mind. Remember, the world isn't too big for you. You are simply the size it needs to become.